Morning, everybody. We're going to get this webinar started in a couple minutes. I want to give everybody an opportunity to um, join in. So I figure I'll give it maybe 2 minutes left, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you. Paul, you had a question? Paul, do you have a question? Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can now.
Okay. I was going to tell you, Amy Johnson and Salita are both out sick.
Oh boy, I guess they just didn't want to talk to me or hear from me again. Okay, I'm going to get started here. We have 20 people here today, so Um, thank you for joining us. I'm going to talk today about the fine art of applying credit to invoices in both AR and in the case of AP, applying debit memos to um, your invoices and bills in AP. The in When you're processing invoices, AR invoices, or sales order invoices, and you process a credit memo, you have the opportunity to either apply that credit memo to a specific invoice, or not apply it to a specific invoice. Then it becomes a standalone um, credit in the customer file. And then at some point in time, one of two things is going to happen. When the customer pays, they're going to take the credit memo on their off on their payment, or they'll instruct you, or they'll short pay an invoice, and you will be stuck with applying the credit memo to the invoice on your own. Okay, so what I'm going to focus on today is applying a standalone invoice into against credit memos, or vice versa, apply the credit memo to a standalone invoice. So we're going to do this in accounts receivable through the cash receipt mechanism. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, create my batch, create a deposit number. It doesn't matter what bank you select because this will not show up in the bank rec. Okay, so you can choose any bank you choose. It doesn't matter. And your cash deposit amount is going to be 0. Okay, so we're going to accept here. And now it's going to ask you for the customer account. So let's do this. Let's go to accounts receivable and just preview. Okay, so let me come up here, page width here. I see in American Business Forms, I got a credit, excuse me, of $81.48. So there in Breslin Parts Supply, I have a couple credits, $2,700, 2007 credit memos there, and then in Hillsborough, a couple other credit memos. So these credit memos are going to stay there and until basically they're used or applied. Notice in this one, somebody sent a payment in, and maybe the person that the customer that sent it wasn't specific about how it's supposed to be applied. Maybe it could be customer deposit, or it just could be they just send it in there for on account, whatever reason. Okay, so we're going to come in here, and I'm going to go back to my cash receipt, close that down, and the first customer, ABF. Okay, do it this way, ABF. Okay, and then for the check number, because it is a mandatory field, I just usually put something like apply in there. Excuse me. You can put anything you want, whatever makes sense to you. Come in here. Question, Paula? Okay, so we're going to leave this at 0, and we go to line, and we'll come in here, select my invoices, and we'll see I have this credit memo here. Okay, and I can select this, and I can hold my control key down and select the invoice if I want to. Sometimes, depending, you're not sure type situation, go ahead and select the credit memo. I usually select the credit memo first before I select the invoice. But in the long run, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to say, okay, so see how this went? When I used the selection process here, it didn't do much good. So here's what usually works better for me. Okay, I come in here and I typically select my credit memo first because it automatically selects the full amount. Then I go to the next line, come in here and select the invoice I'm going to apply it to, and it will automatically apply that amount there and leave a balance. Any questions? So I may want to leave the balance there. I might want to write off the balance to the GL, whatever works type situation. I'm coming here. I'm going to say GL account. And okay, come in here. I guess I don't have a bad debt account here. My expense section. I'll just put in miscellaneous expenses. And so here I would do $85. And I have a negative 352 in here. Come on. Oops. Don't forget to put the minus sign in there. And so now I've applied everything. I took the 352 and wrote it off to the GL account, just miscellaneous expenses. Okay. When you're done, your posting balance must be 0. Okay, so I'm going to accept, and just going to go on to we'll go to apply, leave my balance at 0 again. Lines, come on. Oh, okay. So the adjustment. This is I forgot their balance forward, and I can't do this with the balance forward because they don't have any details. All they have is the balance forward. Okay, let's try Hillsborough. And they're another balance forward. So you can't imply individual invoices when you're dealing with the balance forward account. So that was the only examples I had in for AR. Anybody have any questions so far on applying credits to invoices, taking credits or taking invoices, writing them off to the GL? Feel free to raise your hand. Feel free to enter a question in chat. Everybody good? Okay. So I'm going to, um, go ahead and post this. Select my batch. Okay, and here's my register. Just update it. Okay, now I can come back um, and run my age report. And notice that the credit in ABF no longer exists. And that $185 invoice has been completely absorbed, so it no longer exists there. If you want to get a little bit more granular, we'll go into customer inquiry. Come in here to ABF. Thank you. And go to invoices. And here's that $85. And it shows the payment, $85, using the apply function. Credit memo, use that, and you're also using apply function. So everything flows through with a nice, decent audit trail. Okay, before I move on, does anybody have any questions on applying debits and credits in the AR side? Okay, we'll go in accounts payable. Take a quick look. Okay, in this case, I have $500 credit in a true accounts payable fashion. This is truly an accounts $500 debit and everything. And then I also have okay, I thought I had more. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Here's a $550 debit memo, and I'll claim it. So to apply these, one of two things happen. You can, when you're paying your vendor, you can apply that. You can pay the full invoice and then apply the debit memo, and just pay the difference. One thing that Sage will not do is it will not print a negative check, nor will it print a $0 check. So when all you're doing is applying debits to credit type situation, you're going to go in accounts payable. You're going to go into the manual check and payment entry. Okay, doing a check. Once again, it doesn't matter what bank code you're using because this transaction will not show up in bank rec because it's going to be a $0 transaction. So when you're doing the check, you're going to APP or apply, and then excuse me, enter a code, 3-digit code after the APP. Sage does not have a check number sequence for the apply function. So you just kind of have to look at and see if you've used it before. A lot of times I'll look in payment history to see if any APs have been used before, and I just make a note of the next sequence. So I come in there, and my vendor number is going to be Airway Property. And I'm going to find my credit. And then I'll find whatever invoice I decide I want to apply it against. I'll do it this one here. And the amount that I'm applying to that invoice. And notice something coming down here at 0 for a check distribution balance. All I have to do is accept, and I'm ready to go on to the next one. I'll go on that one. So let's do one more here. AP 101. I know I just used 100. And then we'll do all climate. Okay. Come in here, like right here type situation. We use the entire amount. And then come in here one at a time. And now my distribution balance is 0. The net of everything is always going to be 0. All I have to do is come accept this. And I can keep entering applications as long as I might be in, maybe for whatever reason, I'm in cleanup mode. You know, it's getting towards the end of the month and everything. So I'm cleaning up my AR, cleaning up my AP, getting rid of a lot of the what I call noise out of the system. And then come in here. And let's go to paperless office. Okay. Here's the $500. Close that down, say yes. And because it was a $0 transaction, there was no daily transaction register. Okay, now I can come back and run my AP aging report and notice that my airway has been reduced. 3,500 is now 3,000. Guess it'd be better if I let you see it. And then the all climate, I had offset those two $75 invoices. And so there's nothing here except this remaining $500 invoice. Okay, I come up here, I can come into vendor inquiry. And I come up here, highlight the invoice, and I can see the payment. Oops, that's not wrong. That's the wrong one. Here, the APP, $3,500, and it took away 500. So now I have the, and there's my audit trail. And the other one's all climate. And I can come in here. Here's my $75 adjustment right here. And then I can look at the other one. Of course, it'd be helpful if I found it. So any questions? Anybody? But anyway, I think you will find that if you do this kind of on a semi-regular basis, you can clean it up and get rid of a lot of the noise off of your open payables and open receivables, and I think it ultimately can make your life so much easier. Still no questions? I don't see anything entered in chat here. Paula, did you have a question?
No, I don't have one.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? AP, AR? Finishing a little early here, so I can either give you back a few minutes for your day and your lunch hour, or I can even answer any questions, any general questions you have about Sage.
I do have a question. I'll take that back.
Okay, shoot.
So in accounts receivable, you know how at the end of the month we have to like take off, well, we do. We'll go and take off the service charges. So
Yep.
when a customer pays, can you take the service charge off in that payment or not?
Yes, you can. The customer is not paying the service charges. You're just using the service charges as a negotiating ploy to get them to pay up,
Right.
which is typical. So think of it this way. Let's kind of look at the age report and finance charges. Okay, so ABF has a 4389 finance charge. So ABF, and see somebody else here. Avnet. Okay. So what I'm going to show you here is not just the finance charges. You can apply this to any miscellaneous um, invoice out there that for whatever reason it's small balance, you're not going to collect it, make the decision you're not going to collect it or what have you. Customer refuses to pay it. So you just want to get rid of it, right? So once again, you're going to use cash receipt. Okay. Next cash receipt number, and just call up another deposit number, and we'll leave everything at zero. Cash receipt here, and okay, so then once again, in this case, um, finance charges, I might just put W/O for write off. Okay, whatever your policies have you doing is fine. Whatever April has you doing is fine too. Come in here, leave this at zero. Lines, go find that finance charge right here. Select it. Amount posted is going to be the 4389. You with me on this part here? So you're going to say 4389, you're posting it. Now notice down here, your posting balance is negative 4389. You're not going to be able to get out of here until that's zero. So in this case, you're going to come down to the next line and see down here line type. You're going to have invoice and you're going to go to GL account. And then you're just going to choose, whatever GL account you want. Most people will have a bad debt or some sort of account designated for their write-off. I'm just going to throw down here into the miscellaneous again. $43.89, and then accept, and that's all there's to it. You're fine as long as this field right here is going to be 0. Okay. Um, we're going to do one more, the admin. Write off. Okay. Once again, you're not limited to just writing off the finance charge, the FC. You can write off all or part of anything. Although if you start using some big numbers, I think the better way to do that would be with a credit memo. But for small amounts and everything, for sure, come in here, 4412. Go to the next line, come down here. Instead of invoice, say GL account. And then you're going to write off that amount there. 0, accept. We're going to print it. Okay, here's your register. We'll say yes. And it does the daily transaction register. I come back in here with the customer inquiry. Okay. Finance charge. And you can see the chain, the flow, audit trail. Check number is the write-off. That's why it's 0 balance. And AvNet, same thing. Finance charge. You have the finance charge, then you have the payment in the form of a write-off, and that's the balance is 0. Any questions? Paula, did that help you?
Yes, that's good. I'm glad we can do that.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Questions about life in general? Okay. I'd like to thank you for attending, giving us a half hour of your day. And I hope this information is useful for you and you're processing information on a day-to-day basis in Sage 100. If anybody else has any questions you didn't think of, feel free to reach out. My email address is dstjohn@oasisky.com. Thank you, everybody. Y'all have a great one. Ciao.